Hi, this is TapCat. Welcome to part 9 of my Dark Souls playthrough. As promised, when I left you last, I have done a lot of farming down here in the depths. And I wanted to show just how fast you can run down this row and kill the slimes if you have pyromancy. So this video is not speeded up. I'm just doing this in real time. Combustion casts very quickly, and it's a one-shot kill, and that's it. And my glove is not upgraded at this time. So then I would go downstairs and kill the rats. Now I switched to the sword because it's a lot more common to get hits against more than one rat. Like that one I got a little lucky and I got 4 with one stroke. I didn't get any drops out of it, but that's okay. So I did this a ton of times. And in fact, what I would do is I did some farming. I went up and upgraded my glove and did some things and then came back. I did that a couple of times. I also did some cooperation, which I'm going to show you. So what I'm going to do, we're going to edit this so that you see me do all of the glove upgrades at one time. Everything I did at the blacksmiths at one time. That's not how it went chronologically, but I think it'll be a lot easier for you to follow that way.
Oh, there you are, dearie. I have moss. Now dish up some souls.
First up was the Undead Merchant, and the first thing I had thought of is I wanted a little bit more moss for when we get to Blighttown. So I did that. I also bought 10 charcoal pine resin so we can apply flame to our weapon, mostly for boss fights. I just wanted to have that extra firepower if we needed it. Some transient curses for when we go to New Londo. A couple extra homeward bones. Maxed out on prism stones, and then went ahead and bought some standard bolts so we can use our crossbow without fear of running out. So basically, I was just trying to load up on any supplies, that I thought we would need for a while. So with that out of the way, I wanted to see how far up we could take the glove. Originally, I was thinking I might be able to max it out. But even with multiple farming sessions, this thing is a real sink, for your souls. So we just took it as far as we could.
There. I'm pleased to see you safe. As always, if you provide the materials, I can teach you pyromancy.
So for this visit, that meant I could get the glove as high as +8. And then I had enough souls left over to go ahead and buy Fire Orb as well. So when I came back, I bought Iron Flesh and Flash Sweat, the other 2 spells I thought I might need, and then was able to get the glove to +11. So we didn't get to +15, but, that's pretty good, I think.
Goodbye then. Come back.
Well, I was mostly gathering souls to do equipment upgrades. I wanted to go up just 1 level in endurance, specifically because I could carry the equipment that I've kind of adopted as my primary set and stay under 25% load so I can be as quick as possible. In the midst of doing all that, I discovered someone new at Firelink Shrine, and so I went up and spoke to them.
What have we here? You look awfully raggedy. Times are grim. The least you can do is look sharp. Don't you dare meet my lady like that. You might scare her off for good.
You are undead as well? Then we've no time to fraternize. I have my mission and you no doubt have yours. We must not let this curse overcome us. Did I not explain the urgency of our tasks? Or are you so uncouth as to lack such judgment? By the looks of you, I should think not.
And now, Andre.
Why, that's a fine ember you have there. I could smith some mighty weapons with one of those. Why not lend it to me?
My very thought.
Magnificent! You won't be disappointed. I can hardly wait to get started.
So my first upgrade was a slam dunk. I wanted the Uchigatana at plus 10. That's the whole reason I spent so much time down in the depths farming large Titanite shards. Now, less critical but hopefully still worthwhile upgrades included boosting my heater shield up to plus 5. And I also decided to take my Pyromancer starting gear and put the chest piece at plus 7 as well. That's as far as I could go with just large Titanite shards. I should also add that while I was visiting the blacksmith, I did spend a few minutes farming these tree creatures for moss that we'll be able to use in Blighttown. They have a pretty high drop rate, actually, so I didn't do anything new here. It was just strictly some light farming. Now, I mentioned earlier that I also engaged in some jolly cooperation with other players, and we're going to show that now. Most of the fights are with the Capra demon. This was one of at least a couple of times where I was one of 3 players taking him on, so you would certainly hope that we would not find it too difficult to win the day in that circumstance. Actually, my main fear going in there is that in such a small space as you get to fight the Capra demon, if we would be getting in each other's way too much. The first thing I did when I got in was head straight for the first dog that I could see. They are such a pain if you leave them alive. It looked like someone else had already killed the other one. So now at this point, it was just a question of, you know, getting behind the Capra demon, or if he turned to face me, doing my best to defend myself. And mostly that's what ended up happening the second half of that fight. Is I just, you know, did my best to be elusive and the other guys killed him. Now, this was another instance of there being 3 of us going in. I was more confident about that this time because I knew we could have that many in there and not be stumbling all over each other. Once again, I saw that the dogs were alive, so I went straight after one of them and killed him, and then found the other and did the same. And then after that, I just went after the Capra demon. Now, he caught me with a quick turnaround there, so I went from full health to, you know, less than half real quick. So I went two-handed and went for some hard shots behind him. And then I'm going to switch to one-handed again, but I still took my, you know, the hardest shot I could. And then I decided to try and switch it up a little bit. So I went to pyromancy. And I got a really nice fire orb off there. But unfortunately, my next one missed. So since I was concerned about the speed, I decided to switch to combustion and tagged him. I think I actually got the killing blow there, but I'm not 100% sure. At any rate, victory was achieved. Because the Capra demon hit so hard, I decided to try it once in Elite Knight armor and just see if that would offer me any meaningful protection if I got tagged. Because as you saw in that last fight, when he hit me, man, my health went down fast. Now, in this fight, there's only 2 of us, so I knew, we didn't have as much margin for error. As usual, the first thing I did is kill the dog. I'm an animal lover in real life, but let me tell you, in this fight, I definitely am all about killing the hounds first and foremost. Now, unfortunately, I was looking to the summoner there, trying to figure out what he wanted to do, and I got caught with that jumping attack of his. So from that point on, I tried to be a lot more careful and engage in hit and run. Now, since the summoner was at the top of the stairs, I came up, but I wasn't really clear how we would fight him that way. And I was grateful, when he came down, so that we would have some room to move and, work this guy down. I got in a dodge there that I felt like I was lucky to get. That was also very close. But we just keep chipping away here. And this is what I like, I guess, in co-op is, it's not necessarily one of us just straight up tanking, but I hit him and then he faces me and that gives you an opening. And we just kind of keep trading that way. So I once again switched to pyromancy there at the very end, but I think either way it would have been fine. Now, this is the final time I fought the Capra demon. Once again, there were 3 of us, so, I wasn't too worried about it going in, although I do know you can't let yourself get complacent, because if he hits you, a couple of good shots, that's it. Now, for once, I didn't see the dogs when I first came in. Actually, there's one now, but he wasn't easily accessible. So I did back off, hoping I could pull him, and I got him. The bad thing was I didn't know if the other one was still alive, and then he came down and tagged me from behind. But fortunately, he was killed right after that. So now, knowing that it's the demon himself is the only one left, and he's already half dead, I'm just looking for openings here. And the other guys had already been doing a good job of weakening him. I did get in the final shot there. It was hard to see through the tree, but truthfully, I think this was another case where if it had just been the other 2 guys, they'd have been fine. 3 is really kind of overkill. Now, as much as I enjoyed helping people with the Capra demon, what I really wanted was a grudge match against the Bell Gargoyles. I was very unhappy with how poorly I felt I played when I fought them alone. And I think it took me way more attempts than it should have. And, I just wanted another crack at them. Now, in this instance, it was, myself and Solaire had been summoned. So not another human player, but an AI one. And, it's not like I had a fancy strategy or anything. I just wanted to get in there. I went for the tail. I got lucky because I cut it off the first try. I don't know if he wanted it or not, but he got it. And then really the 3 of us just put a massive beat down on this first one and had him dead before the second could be a factor. So I was able to get around the fire and just really, creamed him. I'm not even sure that the summoner got in a shot. I know Solaire got in at least one. So it's not like I soloed him, but yeah, it's just amazing because we kind of made a mockery of that fight, and it was so difficult when I soloed it. I would have liked to fight them another few times, but unfortunately, I spent a fair amount of time there on a couple of different days, and I just couldn't get summoned. I didn't even hear the bells ring except one time. So it just seemed like the area was not very active at all for whatever reason. So that concludes my little sojourn. Now I'm going to show you where I ended up after all of that. These are the Titanite shards I have left, 4 large and 18 green after all that farming and using up what I did. I also ended up with 25 red moss, 32 purple, and 13 blooming purple. So that will hopefully get us through what we need to do in Blighttown. 10 charcoal pine resin, 5 transient curses. That's how many I ended up with. 9 homeward bones. I had 10, but I used one. And 36 of the humanity that we carry. So all in all, a pretty good haul that should help us as we go forward. I also have 14 humanity that we'll be at risk of losing if I'm killed a couple times. But those should help us a lot when we continue exploring this area, and we're going to fight some basilisks that curse you, and humanity helps give you protection against that. At any rate, I think it makes sense to cut this off now. I realize it's a short episode overall, but there's no way we would finish exploring the depths in the time we have left. So that's all for now. Thanks for watching. I hope we see you next time.